Hello students, welcome to the video tutorial of business regulation. In our previous class, we studied the concept consideration. Hope you all remember that. Now in this video, we are going to discuss two concepts. They are stranger to contract and stranger to consideration. So first we can discuss what is stranger to contract. A person who is not a party to contract is known as a stranger to contract. So, a person who is not a party to contract cannot claim rights even though the contract is for his benefit, and such a person is known as stranger to contract. Once again, a person who is not a party to contract cannot claim rights even though the contract is for his benefit, and such a person is known as stranger to contract. Now we can say that there is a rule that apart from special circumstances, a person who is not a party to contract has no right to sue on the contract. That means if A and B are the two parties in a contract, only they can control that contract. No other person can control the contract. Suppose C is a third person who have no right in the contract. Now we can discuss the concept privity of contract. Privity of contract is a rule in the law which says that only parties to a contract may sue and be sued on that contract. This rule is also known as doctrine of privity of contract. In other words, privity of contract means the relationship between the parties who have entered into the contractual obligation. So, only those parties in a contract can be sued or sued. This is the crux of privity of contract. Now we can discuss the consequences of doctrine of privity of contract. So the first consequence is stranger to a contract cannot make a complaint to a court based on the contract, even though the contract is for his benefit and he provide consideration. And the next consequence is a stranger to contract have no right and no obligation towards that contract. In short, if there is a contract between A and B, C cannot enforce to that contract. So, these are all about stranger to contract and privity of contract. Now, moving to next topic, that is stranger to consideration and privity of consideration. Stranger to consideration means consideration given by any person other than promisee. Once again, stranger to consideration means consideration given by any person other than the promisee. Now, what is privity of consideration? It is a principle or rule which specifies that a stranger to the consideration or consideration given by any person other than the promisee is not enforceable. So, this is the meaning of privity of consideration. Under English law, a stranger to the consideration cannot make any complaint in the court because English law says that consideration must move from the promisee and not from stranger. But in Indian law, consideration may move from promisee or any other person. Please note that in Indian law, consideration may move from promisee or any other person. But it is not enforceable in the case of English law. So, in India, consideration made by the stranger is lawful and enforceable. Now, we can discuss some exceptional cases where the strangers to the contract cannot sue. That means, in some special cases, the rule that a stranger to a contract cannot sue is not applicable. So, we can discuss such cases in detail. So, the first exception is in the area of trust. In a contract creating a trust, the beneficiary who is a stranger to the contract can enforce the trust even though he is a stranger in the contract. Which means in a trust there are so many beneficiaries are there. They are not directly a part of the contract. Even though they are not the part of that contract, they can make a complaint or they can sue to the court. This is the first exceptional case. Now the next one is the marriage settlement, partition or other family arrangement. In this case also strangers or the party other than the contract can make a decision. For example, Devi is a minor girl. Her father Devadas entered into an agreement for her marriage with Balachandran. Later, Balachandran refuses to marry Devi. On attainment of majority, Devi filed a case against Balachandran for breach of promise of marriage. The court decided in Devi's favor and said that Devi could recover the damages even though she was not a party to the agreement between her father and Balachandran. So look this, here the actual parties in a contract is Devadas and Balachandran. But even though Devi is not a party into that contract, he has the right to sue and get compensation. Now the next case is acknowledgement or estoppel. Where a promiser by his act accept that he is an agent of a third party, so there is an implied obligation created towards third party. This concept is known as acknowledgement or estoppel. In other words, where the promiser by his conduct acknowledges or otherwise constitute himself as an agent of a third party, a binding obligation is thereby incurred by him towards the third party. So we can explain this concept with an example. Here Devarajan sold his house to Govindan for rupees 20 lakh. The sales price was left in the hands of the Govindan for payment to Krishnan. Govindan made part payment to Krishnan and agreed to pay the balance later. Krishnan can recover the balance amount from Govindan. Here contract is between Devarajan and Govindan. Krishnan is not a part of that contract, but he can make a case against Govindan. Krishnan is the third party, so here he has the right to sue against Govindan. So this is all about acknowledgement or estoppel. Now next is assignment of contract. Here an assignee can also sue to the court based on the assignment. In other words, an assignee of a contract can also enforce the benefit which has been assigned under the contract. Next is contract through agent. Sometimes agents can sue on the contract. In other words, agent should act within the scope of his authority and in the name of the principal. So these are all about the cases where exceptions to the rule stranger to a contract cannot sue. That means in all these cases strangers have the role and they can sue to the court. Now next we can discuss the concept contract without consideration. Generally we can say that no consideration, no contract. Consideration is one of the most essential element of a valid contract. A promise without consideration is null and void. It is called a naked promise or nudum pactum. I repeat, a promise without consideration is null and void. It is called as naked promise or nudum pactum. Here also some exemptions are there, which means in some cases the contract is valid even though there is no consideration. As I already told you that an agreement made without consideration is void. This concept is known as ex nudo pacto non oritur actio. I repeat, ex nudo pacto non oritur actio is the rule. The meaning of this rule is an agreement made without consideration is void. Section 25 and 185 of the Indian Act deals with the exception of this rule. So now we can discuss some exceptional cases for no consideration, no contract. So the first case is promise made on account of natural love and affection. Suppose a promise is made on account of natural love and affection, there is no need of giving consideration. That means without consideration such type of promise is valid. A contract which is formed based on love and affection must satisfy some conditions. Without this condition, the contract is void. So the conditions are: the agreement should be in writing, it should be registered, it should be made on account of natural love and affection. The parties should stand in near relation to each other. Now the next case is promise to compensate for voluntary services. If a person has already voluntarily done something for the promiser and the promiser agreed to compensate wholly or in part, the agreement is valid even though it is without consideration. For example, A finds B's purse and give it to him. B promises to give rupees 50 to A. This is a contract and it is valid even though A and B has no prior contract to give consideration. Now the next case is agreement to pay time-based debt, where a debtor promises by way of writing to pay a time-based debt. The agreement is valid even though it is not supported by consideration. The main point to be considered is that the promise to pay time-based debt must be an express one. It should not be implied from an acknowledgement of the debt. So, in this case, without consideration, contract is valid. Now, next exceptional case is gift. Absence of consideration shall also not affect the validity as between the donor and donee of any gift actually made. Next is contract of agency. Section 185 of the Contract Act explains that no consideration is necessary to create an agency. An agency with or without consideration has the same effect. So, these are the exceptional cases of no contract, no consideration. Now, we can discuss the questions related with this video. They are: what is mean by nudum pactum? What is privity of contract? What do you mean by stranger to consideration? What do you mean by stranger to contract? Completed gift need no consideration. Comment. Under what condition time-based debt is valid? State the exception to the rule that a stranger to the contract cannot sue. State the exceptional case to no consideration, no contract. So students, today we discussed the concept privity of contract and privity of consideration, or stranger to contract and stranger to consideration, and also we discussed some exceptional cases to the rule that a stranger to a contract cannot sue and no consideration, no contract. So hope you get the idea about this concept. Now let us wind up the class. Thank you for watching. See you in the next class. Okay. Bye.